Printing language was changed to English. Wow. Okay. Uh, do you think language was changed to English? Oh. I'm reading my own transcription. Some of it is quite good. I don't know about you, but the Microsoft Word on my laptop, I think it's the latest one. Now you can just speak to your Word, and you don't have to type your essay. You know, the words will be typed automatically on your document. I thought it was cool. Huh? You should try that as well. All right. Assalamualaikum. Very good afternoon to everyone. It's 3 p.m. So let's start our class. Hopefully I counted right, and this week is week 9. Week 9. If I'm wrong, then correct me, okay? Because sometimes I lost count of the day, of the week, sorry, of the day. I somehow can feel what day it is, and today feel like Friday. But I normally can't remember which week we are in. I have to count from the beginning. If I'm not mistaken, today is this week is week 9. So I think all of you are starting to get quite busy. I noticed that one of you, at least one group, have recorded their assignment number 3 because they told me that all of them do not have a free time uh, for the next 5 weeks or so. Especially because of the lecturer that they chose. Uh, it's not available until a certain date. So they did it already. That's okay. That's okay. As long as the recording that you make fulfills what I expect. Okay. And what I expect is something that I will cover today. Yeah. Which is not that detailed anyway. And hopefully, for those who have recorded their interview, uh, you have done what I've asked for. Lah. But it's okay. I will show you some tips and tricks on how to get the right final video, even though if you have not had complete content for it. Okay, complete ingredients for your for your for your baking. Okay, right. So today I'm going to go through a bit about conducting an interview. All right. So let me summarize a bit on how we get here so that you don't get confused or why do we do this or why do we do that and so on. Okay. So remember in the first week of our course, I told you that what this course is about. It's about how I would like to share with you a very basic structuring on how to structure your content so that it's easier to digest by others. So we went through some basic concepts of storytelling where there are a few types there, but the most easiest one would be the 3 structure types, the 3X structure, where in whatever you do, in whatever situation you are in, if you are required to write a report or present something, always divide them into 3. Eh? Setup, conflict, resolution. By now, I hope you have remembered that. But that those categories is not limited to that. Okay, you can divide it into all other parts. You can call it whatever you want, but as long as it's in 3 parts, that should help the audience to understand your content better. Okay, 3X structure. And from then on, we go through a bit about photography, where we've shared about certain techniques in taking photos so that your photos tell a story. Okay. Of course, you can take beautiful photos with your phone, with your camera, but if you follow certain rules, your photo can speak by itself. Okay, and that's why we go through the rule of thirds and direct. It's called, uh, I can't remember the name now. The lines, where your eyes will follow the lines, and then your photo will seem to be a bit more alive. Okay. Uh, what else? You learn a bit about depth and so on, framing, composition, and so on. And then using that skill, we upgrade, not upgrade lah. Basically, videography is just a collection of photos connected together. And that's why if you look up the definition for movies, MOVIE, movies. It's a short form for moving pictures. The Americans like to shorten things up, so they call these moving pictures as movies, and that's why we have movies now. So basically, it's just a collection of uh, repetitive photos, in a certain sequence, right? So, and that's why the technique in composition in composing sorry in composing a scene in photography is also used in videography. It's just that when you record a video, you have at your hands three more additional elements, which is the three camera movement. And with each camera movement, you can do two things normally. Panning left to right, right to left, tilt up and down, and also zoom in and zoom out. So with this combination, combined with the photo composition, you can create a very engaging visual. Okay, visual. Uh, and finally, combining that with good information gathering, which we are doing now. I start straight away with interview because it connects with the what we've done before, taking photos, taking videos, and now we're doing interviews. And with doing interviews, I will use the basic three-part structure, and I will share with you uh, what kind of element will make a good interview video. Okay, and later on, before we end this course, I will go a bit into journalism. Okay, because journalism does not just cover interview video. Journalism is much more bigger umbrella. Conducting an interview, recording and producing an interview video is just one part of journalism. But trust me when I said that interview video is actually a very, very important part of journalism. Because by having a video nowadays, you can sell your story to all these media outlets out there, and also it helps with your personal branding. If you are into science communication, if you are into hosting, emceeing, and so on, so video of you conducting an interview, a good one, is highly sought after nowadays. All right. Right. So let's share my screen so that you're not bored looking at my face. Right, so I will start with uh, the, this one. Why is it on that side? Okay, let's start with this one and then we'll go with that. Okay. All right, so this PDF is actually available on your Spectrum. You can click on the content, because normally all the important things are at the top, the notes are all at the bottom. Okay, you scroll down, you will see that we start with photography, videography, introduction to videography, and there's a part where I say introduction to interview and conducting interview. So this PDF is uh, actually last semester I did it for week 8. This semester I do it for week 9. It's okay. How to conduct an interview. Sorry. uh, Afternoon, not enough coffee. So my tongue sometimes go around. All right, interview. So why do we have an interview? Because it's your entry level for me, my definition. So don't quote this as an official definition or whatnot. This is my definition. So whatever you learn in this course is basically my experience and also my definition of things, which I have digested and simplified for you. And because none of us will go out and become a producer straight away anyway, right? But what I'm intending to do is to introduce you to the most important aspects of storytelling and journalism. And here we are talking about conducting an interview. All right. So why do I start with this? Wait. Let me get to my thoughts first. Why don't I start with this one? Because the slide is much shorter. This one is a bit longer and you have to read. So I don't like reading myself. So why don't we talk with this slide on? All right. So if you remember when we start talking about videography, I told you that there are three parts to it. Yeah. In my content, it's always three parts so that you can easily remember. Okay. So when doing a video, there's three parts. Okay. Before, during, and after. So same goes with conducting interview. There are parts that you need to do before the interview, during the interview, and after the interview. And also similar to videography, the before part is about planning of your video, who to contact, where to conduct the interview, when to conduct the interview, how long you want to conduct the interview, and so on. Right? Not just about selecting who you want to talk to, but all the other things that related to that. Not just the interview, but the afterwards also. Because let's say you want to have a certain feel to it, all right? So you need to plan ahead where you want to take, where you want to record the video, you see? Because normally research is conducted in the labs. And if you want to have that feel or vibe of a lab, you need to record it in the lab. But labs normally are light, badly lighted. They have very not strong lights, because a lot of lab cannot have strong light. So you have to think ahead. What I normally do is that, okay, we'll talk about it later during the second part, okay? One by one. Okay, the before part, most importantly, is for you to plan ahead who you want to talk to and what kind of questions that you want to cover, and where and when. Lah. For this one, my advice would be I suggest you to not to select just anyone in UM, but select one that have your own interest. Okay, let's say you are like me, you are an engineering student, but you have an interest in, say, I don't know, biology, you know. So you want to know about cats because you have cats at home. So your passion is cats. You like cats. So find a lecturer who do research on cats. All right. Why I advise you this is because when conducting an interview, a good interviewer will be able to have a good body language when you talk to your interviewee. Because by doing that, the interviewee will feel at ease and relaxed, because that's very important. Because when you're not relaxed, that's the time when you forget things lah. You're a bit stuck up on the camera lah. You don't look nice on camera lah. Everything bad will happen, right? So first things first, you must get the interviewee to be relaxed. And they cannot relax if you cannot relax. Okay. And for you to be relaxed, you must know what you want to talk about. And that's why for this course, I highly encourage you to talk about something of your passion. Okay. If you like cats, find a lecturer that do studies on cats. Okay. If you can find them, uh, let me know. I can share some of my contacts that do this thing. By now, I should have, not everyone. Sorry, I written something not trending. Anyway, right. So by now, since I've worked in UM for 20 years now, so I think I got enough uh, people in my network that can talk about the things that you want to talk about, right? Whether it's about the climate change, whether it's about the heat, whether it's about the economy, whether it's about the religion, Islam, and history, what's happening in Gaza, our history, Malaysia, engineering, science, plastic pollution. What else? What else do we have? SDG. I think I have enough. I think I know enough people in UM to share with you the contact. If you have problems in contacting people that suits your area that you want to do. Okay. So first things first, my advice is to find out what you want to talk about, and only then you find the expert. Because if you do the other way around, you find the expert first, and you decide what question to ask, how you want to conduct the interview. My worry is that during the interview, you are not relaxed, the interviewee is not relaxed, so you will not get a very good interview video. All right, so that's my first tip. Start with what you are passionate about, or at least you are curious about. All right. Last semester, for example, one of the students was curious about sleeping. Sleeping, because as a student, she said she don't get enough sleep, and she was worried how much sleep was enough, right? So she looked up the internet and found out which UM experts are doing sleep study. So she went there, and true enough, the question was very smooth. The interview was very lively, because the interviewer, the student, is curious about what sleep is about. So the interview was done very smoothly. Although the editing wasn't that good, it's a bit long, to tell you the truth, but I can see that the interviewee was at ease, and that's a very important part for you to remember. Okay, make them at ease, relax, and to do that, it's easier when you passionate about the topic. At least you are curious about the topic. Okay, first things first. All right. During the videography topic before, we covered on storyboard. Okay. Now, in an interview video, you don't need much storyboarding, because most of the time the content, the audio comes from the interviewee. Yeah. So the storyboard, you can do a simple one. Even if you don't want to do it, it's okay. I will not mark you based on your storyboard. I will mark you based on the final video. So if you think storyboard is not important, that's fine. That's fine. But focus on who you want to talk, where and when you want to talk, because these three things, who, where, and when, will determine how smooth your video will be. Okay? Right. So during, okay, now we go a bit on the during. What's my slide on? Sometimes I got quiet. Okay. Okay, during the interview. Excuse me. During the interview, so once you agree with the lecturer, where and when to take the video, during the interview, what's important is for you uh, to have to be sure, for the timing, for example, be sure that both of you are flexible. Okay, let's say you have free time between only lunchtime. My advice is don't do it during lunchtime. Okay, do it either in the morning, before lunch, or after lunch. Even before lunch, also not so good. Make it early in the morning, right after breakfast, or right after lunch. That's my tip, the timing. So that again, the session will become smooth. All right, because we want this, because this is the first time for you to do an interview with a lecturer. Normally, it's a serious topic, so I want it to be as relaxed as possible. All right, timing, venue. Okay, venue. Try to find a place where it's quiet, right? Because for this one, I don't expect you to have a very technical gear, camera lah, mic lah. If you have, then by all means use it. Lighting lah. So try to minimize everything. Use only your phone. So the location, the best would be anywhere that is quiet, but close to a light source. Okay, light source can be what do you call this thing? Indoor lights like this, or you can use natural lights. In cafes, for example, if you want to do it in a cafe, although it's a bit noisy, but perhaps you can deal with the cafe owner. You record the interview during a less busy hour. Record your interview next to the window, right? And also my tip would be to record your video in the lecturer's room, or the lecturer's office. Each of us, lecturers in UM, we have our own room. Just like me now, I'm in my room. Although not in engineering, but I'm in my room in KK6. So if you want to interview me, this would be a good place for you to interview. It's quiet. It has lighting. In fact, if you want natural light, I can use the window. I normally cover it because I don't want it to get hot. Because this room faces the sunlight directly. But yeah, my advice, my tip for location, just now my tip for timing is after breakfast or after lunch. My tip for venue or location is in the lecturer's room. But you might say, doctor, but in the lecturer room, they don't have anything to show for their research. They only have table lah, laptop lah, books lah, what to show. All right, so I will tell you next my tips and tricks on how to show research even if your interview is done in the room, right? But before that, tadi apa? Location, timing, location. Okay, game. Okay, before I go into the tips and tricks, last but not least, I want to talk about your gear, your tools, your equipment. All right. To conduct an interview, in fact, the example that I showed you where there's a short interview by myself, not myself, I didn't produce it, I directed, okay, with my team from the corporate comms. That was conducted on a proper video camera. Video camera ada, I have a mic for me and mic for the, because I was the interviewer, right? Mic for me and mic for the interviewee. And there's another mic for ambient sound, okay? So that setup was quite complete. And we also have lighting, artificial lighting at the back of the interviewee to create this silhouette of line on her body, and also light from my back. So it was a complete setup, camera, video, audio, and lighting. But for this course, I don't expect you to have all that because obviously you are not from a production company. All I ask is for you to use your phone. Okay. That's why for the video, that's fine. Put it on a tripod or arrange it on the table with a book, so that it stays. And my first tip for videography is that use your rule of thirds to place the subject in your screen. All right. Put it rule of thirds either on the right side or the left side, and put it next to your face. Sorry. Because what you want is the eye of the interviewee to be level at the uh, rule of third. I will share with you what I mean in the example. Okay. Next, about the audio. All right. I know that a lot of you don't have mics, but if you have mics, then by all means you can use it. I know some of you are content creators out there, so if you have your own mic, then use it. But for those of you who don't have mic, my second tip for your technical is that use another phone. That's why it's a group assignment, you see. So one phone is used, there are three of you. There's a reason why you have three people. One person with their phone, one shot of the of the subject. Another one is for another phone, for another angle of the subject, a creative angle, I call it. One is the main one, where it's right there on the third right or third left. The other one is a close-up shot, a bit more closer to the subject. And the third one, all right, the third one is for the audio man, all right. So you open your phone. Each of your phone must have what do you call that? In my phone, it's called recorder, right? Basically, it records sound. I'm sure in your phone, iPhone also have one. I can't remember what the app is called to record sound. So use the third phone to record the audio. Okay. If you are recording your video in a room like this, so put your phone, record your audio like this, record your audio, put it next to the person, who talks. All right. Normally, this audio recorder also has settings such that it just focus on the voice. Yeah. For example, in my phone, wait, not save lah. I don't want to save lah. The setting is that you can. The setting is that you can use it for normal recording mode, they call it. You can use it for standard. You can use it for meeting, or you can use it for interview. When you are in the interview mode, it normally will remove the background noise. You see? So I'm sure your app also have this. So the third phone is used for audio. It's an audio man. We in the industry we call it audio man. So use that as your mic. Because if you have mic, then use it because it's much closer to the interviewee. But if you don't have it, then use the third person's phone to record the audio. Okay. So remember, the first phone, the best phone out there, normally is iPhone for video because it's very good in recording video. Use that as the main phone to record the main interview. The second one is the close-up view, and the third one is for audio. All right. And uh, if you are using this method where you use the third phone as your audio source, make sure to start the recording with a signal. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Clap. Because when you edit, you will know where to sync your video. Because if you're using a mic, you don't have to do that because your mic is automatically synced to your video. But if you are using this separate phone as your audio source, make sure to start with the signal. Normally, people start with the clap signal. Because you can see it on the video and you can hear it on the audio. Okay, and then you sync it in the timeline. Right? When you edit a video in your timeline, you sync it at the audio where it sounds the same. All right, so that's my first, my second. My first tip just now, what was it? I can't remember. The timing, was it? Yeah, but anyway, the tip and tricks. So the timing, to summarize a bit, after breakfast or after lunch, because normally this is the normal time people to be relaxed, right? So if let's say you contact the lecturer, oh, I don't take breakfast lah, sorry lah. So what time is good for you? So you ask the lecturers, ask them when do they feel most relaxed. And also if they say, oh, normally I'm relaxed only after having coffee. So you belanja him coffee lah, alright? So if the lecturer is my friend, let me know and I can belanja for him lah, or her, alright? So the timing after a meal, the who is someone that can answer your curiosity or your passion. The technical side, use use a mic if you have it. If you don't, use the third person's phone for your audio. All right. Now I would like to say a bit about the tips and tricks on how to. Just now I said, if you record your video in an office, okay. If you record any video in the office, it doesn't feel like a research because it's like an office. You have printer like me. I have a printer. I have a computer. I have books. Tables and chairs. That doesn't feel like research, doesn't it? So the tips and tricks for that is for you. This is where you learn all the camera movements before. So ask the permission from the lecturer to go to their labs. All right, go to the lab and using your camera movement, record everything that relates to what the lecturer have said before. All right. So let's say research about cats is about learning about their behavior in a cage. For example, I don't know. I've never been to a cat's lab before. Perhaps they kept the cats in a cage, right? So go to the lab and took a photo of the cat in the cage. Use all the camera movement, the panning left and right, the tilting up and down, and zoom into the cat and zoom out. Yeah. So during editing, when the lecturer start talking about the cat or start talking about the lab, you put that picture up, you see? So you are not stuck with the photo of the lecturer talking and talking and talking. Okay? So you overlay that video. The audio is about him or her talking about the research, but the video, the video is the cat video that you took in the lab. And then maybe perhaps the researcher is talking about what happens during the experiment, for example. I don't know what kind of experiment they do. Right. So ask the permission from the lecturer to, can I record a video during the experiment? So you went there because experiments are not done every day, you see. Uh, Unlike what you have thought. A lot of lecturers do experiments at certain times. And most of us, lecturers, we don't do our own experiment. Normally it's our students who done it, yeah. Final year students, master students, PhD students. So also ask permission from these students when they do the experiment and go at that time and record it, right? Record the experiment. Whatever that is allowed by them, because they are more knowledgeable in terms of what's allowed and what's not. Normally, for rule of thumb, don't record anything that is recognizable. Don't record people's faces without their consent. Yeah. Don't record things that might be sensitive. Don't record blood, something like that. Don't record things that might be sensitive to other people. Uh, for example, when you record something about animals, then a lot of people are about sensitive doing experiments on animals. So don't record things at the stage where perhaps they kill the animal. Don't record that. Record exactly during when the experiment is conducted, for example. Right? I will go through it in the notes after this. Don't worry. What else? What are the tips and tricks? Right. Another tip and trick is that what I do normally during an interview session is that uh, I normally come to the lab or meet the interviewer once, at least once before the interview takes place. One, because I want the interview to be relaxed. And also I want to see whether uh, the questions that I give is actually enough to convey the story. Because sometimes when you talk freely over coffee with the lecturer, you will understand that, oh, that's another interesting aspect that I don't know. Perhaps I will want to cover that. Yeah. You see, interview videos, even though you have planned, because you must remember, at the end of the day, your video must be engaging. Okay? I've told you before, I've shared with you that to be engaging, you must follow the storytelling technique. Yeah. And if you have divided it into three parts, that's fine. But also, you cannot just divide it into any three parts. Okay. You must make it engaging in terms of the storyline. It must flow. All right. Start with this, what you're doing. But let's say during this pre-interview, when you meet the lecturer for the first time, you realize that, oh, actually, da 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 da. So you want to change your focus. That's fine, right? That's the trick that I do, lah, of course. But if you cannot find a time or you cannot, you have the luxury of meeting the lecturer more than once, that's fine. Okay. But that's a good trick to have for you in order to ensure that the actual interview session will be smooth. Okay, will be smooth. Okay, last but not least, the afterwards. Okay. The after for your interview is that for the editing. The editing, like I said, uh, produce the video in three parts. Make sure there are clear three parts. Because without this part, the interview will not feel engaging. Right? And that's why for this week's task, I ask you to select a video that you feel good. That you feel it's a good interview. Right? So once you feel that, look at it again. My bet is that all of those videos have three parts in it: a bit of introduction, who they are, what they do, and what they are doing now, and finally, what next, right? Because that's exactly what I want you to do, the minimum. Okay, of course you can be creative and you do a bit more. You can add a bit more content. Doesn't matter, as long as not no more than 5 minutes. No more than 5 minutes, because I can't. What I can't. There are how many groups are there? 13, 14 groups. Times five. I think that's enough for me one day to watch video. Okay. No, I cannot watch multiple days because my way of marking things is I do it in one go. Because otherwise I forget what mark I give for that, what mark I give for that. So that's why 5 minutes is maximum. Okay, please help me to help me. Okay, 5 minutes. So in that 5 minutes, what I expect of you is these three things. Okay, three components. The first part, make sure you uh, establish who are we looking at. Who is this person? So normally my what I expected is for the interviewee to say who they are, their name, where they are from, and what they do. Okay. Hello, my name is Dr. Nalizul Latif. I'm a lecturer from Faculty of Engineering, and for this semester, I teach this subject called Introduction to Storytelling and Journalism in Digital Media. Khalas. Okay, in Arabic, that's finished. Okay, that's it. So that's the first part. Okay, and the second part of the video, it must talk about why. Okay, because in doing research is not like reading a book. Okay, where there's a time to finish. Okay, you read a book, 1 hour, 2 hour, 1 week, you finish. Okay, doing research is a continuous work, ongoing. It's not stopping anywhere. So why, the answer to the why question is very, very important, so that you can engage the audience to what the researcher is trying to say. And the why question is very important. So why do you teach this subject, Dr. Adi? I teach this subject because I believe that the students, uh, students should be equipped with the storytelling skills, which will be useful in when they are making their reports, when they're making their assignments, when they are doing presentations. Because with a good storytelling technique, one can create a content that is highly engaging and easy for the audience to understand and digest. Itulah, like that. Okay. So make sure when you ask your question, that is the part where they explain why they do this. Okay. Where they explain why this is the problem. Because all research in UM, at least, I don't know what people doing research outside, but in UM, what we are focusing on is solving a problem. There's no point you do research because it's fun. Yeah, because research is funded by government, by some agency. So all these people, all these organizations, they want answer to solve a problem. So all research in UM is conducted because they want to solve a problem. Okay, so make sure you got that answer. Whether it's long-winded or short, it doesn't matter. I leave it to you on how to edit it, but make sure the second part is about the why. Why why does this lecturer do a research on cats? I like cats. I know I like cats, but what about you? Why do you do this research, sir? Oh, because when I was young, something like that. Okay. And finally, the third part is about hope or what's next. Okay, because I told you research is an ongoing process. It's never ending. Okay. So how do you want to end an interview video when the person is talking about something that is unfinished? How to end a video is by asking hope question. What do you hope out of this research, doctor? What do you hope out of this, doctor? So what's next in your research, doctor? Now that you have this result, What's next, doctor? So that's the third part of your video. Okay. I hope that by doing this cat research, people will understand that cats are better than dogs, for example. I'm I'm not saying that you should, prefer cats over dogs. People have their own preferences. I'm not judging, but it's just that it's your video, all right? Your research video should end with something that talks about the researcher's hope, the researcher's explanation of what's next, what can we expect. Because if you think about it, okay, recently I watched the Spider-Man, No Way Home. Uh, if you watch the movie or any MCU movies, if you think about it, the ending is not really an ending, isn't it? Because the universe keeps on moving. Yeah, the story, well, it might not be in the movies, but the world is not stopping, isn't it? Yeah. In the Spider-Man one, the world goes back to where that we don't know who Spider-Man was. Okay, who Peter Parker is. So it goes back to that. Obviously, the story goes on. We are shown that Peter Parker now lives on his own because Aunt May have died, Uncle Ben have died, obviously, and May have died. No, sorry, in this one there are no Uncle Ben. This one is only Aunt May. So Aunt May have died. Happy have forgotten who he is. Iron Man has died. So Peter Parker is on his own, living his own life. MJ doesn't remember him. His best friend doesn't remember him. So he started out his new life. So that is ongoing. So how do you end that? So you end it with, a shot of Peter Parker waiting at the top of a building, waiting for something to happen so that he can help. So your video is something like that as well. So you must say that, not you, but interviewee, huh? The researcher must say something like, oh, I hope that this research will be continued by my students who will look into a different technique, because we believe that there must be a way to solve this problem. And we believe by doing it this way, someday we'll find a solution, something like that. Okay? The hope, the why, the what's next question. Okay? So remember, so your video must have this three part, the minimum, the minimum. So for those who have done your video already, hopefully you recorded this thing so that you can arrange it in this manner. All right. All right. So you might ask that, do we have to follow this flow when interviewing? The short answer is no. I will explain to you why no is the answer. Okay. In conducting an interview, a lot of people thought that getting information is the right thing. The answer is yes and no. Why is it a no? You see, for me, as someone who have done interviews a lot, the most important thing is for you to have both parties relax. Relax first. Because only when you are relaxed, everything will come out. And it's your job as the producer and editor to actually edit whatever content that you got to make into a cohesive, comprehensible video. Interview video doesn't have to have everything. Okay, I told you in the storytelling a long time ago, a story doesn't have to tell everything. Yeah, I told you that the story of Cinderella, for example, the story is highly focused of her with her stepsister going to the ball, coming back from the ball. She left the shoe, and the prince try to find out who the owner of the shoe, and that's it. And finally, they found out who she was, and they live happily ever after. That's it, isn't it? There was never once talk about who is Cinderella father. Where is this forest, for example? Yeah, because in story, not everything is needed. Okay, and that's exactly the same with producing a video interview. Sorry, interview video. My English is all jumbled up now. All right, because your interview is your story. So I leave it to you to arrange it. And this is the arrangement that I want. All right. Who they are, what and why they're doing it. And you end it with what's next or what's their hope for the research. That's it. They might talk about your researcher later on might talk about, oh, when I was studying and when I was your age, I like going to Bukit Cinta, blah, 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 blah. Nothing to do with your interview. Of course, it's part of your interview. Lah. But in editing the video later on, you don't have to include everything. Because last semester I noticed this because the student asked me, Doctor, the interview was longer than 5 minutes. So how? Uh, because they thought the interview video must include everything in the video. But now I'm telling you, you don't have to. Okay, as long as it becomes a good story about the research, and that's fine. As long as it has these three parts, the who and the what, the why the research is conducted, and some results, some data about the what they're doing, and finally end it with the hope, with the hope of the research. You don't have to end it, at the end of the research, because research is never ending. You do this, finish, and then I change this parameter, and you get something else, and we continue doing research, and that's what we do. All right. So yeah, so that's the summary of the interview on how to conduct the interview and what I expected, and I shared with you some tips and tricks about how to conduct the interview. All right. So if you go back to these notes, actually I covered everything that I said just now, which a bit more detail. They also have references here for you to look at if you want to. There's some things that I want to go through a bit. Okay, face to face. I saw this word just now. Right. Last semester, because the student selected someone who is very busy, so that lecturer can only do online interview. So if you ask me, can we do online interview? The short answer is yes. But there is a but. I prefer a physical interview where you go to their room and set up your camera and record the video. But if there is, you can only do online interview with your lecturer of choice, then that's also fine. But yeah, the other but, the but is that you must produce it in such a way that still makes a good story, both visually and also technically. All right? Because if you just record the screen of your researcher talking to you, that would not be a good video because it's boring, you see. So you must still record some B rolls, okay? I think I mentioned B rolls before. So go out there, and I'm sure the lecturer will allow you to go to their labs or find on internet some relevant videos to be used as B rolls for your video, because otherwise your video will become very boring, and I cannot help to give you low marks for it. Okay, I understand that some of you have put in an effort to book a lecturer, but last minute the lecturer got COVID or something, he can't meet you, so you have to do an online interview, which is fine. But you have to put in some additional effort to do the editing. Okay, make sure it's engaging, because remember, journalism is all about creating and engaging content. It's not engaging if you just put up an online interview with a lecturer, okay, talking about your research, right? Remember that. So online interview is fine, but edit it a bit more, okay? Okay, the tag, I told you before, if you don't have the mic, if you don't have a mic, it's still okay. Just use the third person or second person's uh, phone to use it as the audio source, right? See? Setting the scene, find a quiet, well-lit location. Okay. This tip mentioned a tidy background. Why do you need a tidy background? I think I mentioned this during the photography session, photography class, but I might have mentioned it by in passing only, and you might not have noticed it. In a photo, you need a subject, right? If you have some other things inside the photo, your eyes will be distracted to that. All right. And same goes with an interview video. So if you record, okay, I'm just giving you a simple example. If you record an interview with your interviewer in a mall, for example, where people are walking at the back, there are lights at the back, something going on at the back. So your audience, even though the audio is clear, your eyes cannot focus on the subject. Your eyes will be focused on the background, moving, more interesting background at the back. And that, again, remember, your video must be engaging. So a distracting background will not make a good engaging video. Okay, remember that. And that's why you need to find someone with a clean and tidy background. The emptier, the better. Okay, the emptier, the better. My background now might a bit noisy. You can see a red chair. You can see some shelf there. Very noisy. So don't use this setup. If you want to interview me, for example, yes, you can still do it here, but perhaps we will have that wall at the back of this laptop as the background, because that wall is plain, so you can focus on my face alone. All right. What else? Blah blah blah. Okay. I forgot to mention this. Your video is a pre-recorded video interview, right? So it's not a live interview. So I mentioned just now that it's a good idea for you to meet the person before, but if you cannot, then I highly encourage you to give the question before, right? So either you meet the person before the interview, have a small talk with them, so that you're comfortable. He knows you, she knows you. So during the interview, she's a bit relaxed. And if you cannot meet him or her, make sure you give these questions before. Because again, remember, I want to make sure the video is smooth. And everyone will be relaxed if they know what to expect, what questions you want to ask. So always give questions first to the lecturer. Okay. If you're like me, it's okay. I can make the interviewee to be at ease, and I can just ask questions. And my questions are always normally what is needed in the video. But for you, since you are just starting out, I highly encourage you. In fact, not encourage, I ask you. Okay, I ask you to give questions before the interview and give it to the interviewee so that they are relaxed during the actual interview. What else? Okay, so you can read this one, but what I want you to remember is that always ask, okay? Always ask first. If you want to take extra videos, ask. Is it okay if I take a video of your room? I want to take a photo of a video of your books. Because just now you mentioned about, you talk about how you like reading, for example. So I want to take video of your books here. Can I, doctor? Can I? Okay, take. So ask for permission first, okay? Ask permission first. And also make sure when you record, they are not recognizable, okay? When you record something in the lab, for example, don't mention where the lab is unless the researcher allows you to mention that, right? Because we might not know what people will do with that information. Oh, that lab ada ni, that lab has that. Maybe, we don't know, okay? A lot of bad people out there with bad intentions. So don't let your video allow them to do that, right? Just to share, did you know that, because I interview lots of people, did you know that there are certain labs in which has radioactive material? Radioactive, radioactive, you know? material that is radioactive and can be made into nuclear material, nuclear bombs even. No, not directly to nuclear bombs, but the 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 building blocks of it. And I know where it is, but I'm not telling you lah. But what I'm saying is there are other labs like that. They have materials that might be useful for other people to do bad things, right? So that's why ask for permission. And if you have to, take certain videos or photos, make sure people don't know where it is. People cannot recognize what is it, maintain anonymity and confidentiality. That's what it means. All right. Minimizing harm, ethics approval, blah, blah, blah. No need. Just remember that most importantly, ask for permission. All right. Another tip that I suddenly remember is that for B rolls, uh, you don't have to take it right after your interview. For example, let's say while editing. Once you finish recording interview, you got your B-rolls already. While editing, suddenly you remember, hey, if I got this shot, it's better lah. So you take it later on. Doesn't matter. Okay. The steps of producing the video doesn't have to be before, during, and after. During the editing, you can add more stuff in, for example. You don't have to finish everything and only then you start the editing. Okay, for example, the easiest one that normally people forgot or do it some other times. When you record a lab, normally what people also do is that if they allow you to identify where the lab is to shoot an establishing shot. Establish shot. Let's say the lab is located in the Faculty of Engineering. So at the beginning of the video, there is a shot of the tower, engineering tower, in a tilting shot, a tilting shot of the building. When you look at the video, of course, it's at the beginning of your video, but that doesn't have to be, shot before the video. You understand what I mean? Yeah. So the shot was before the interview, but you don't have to take it before the actual interview unless, of course, you have planned for it lah. Eh? So these big roles, sometimes you have to shoot it afterwards. It doesn't matter, but make sure the lighting and the mood is consistent lah. Things consistent lah. You shoot the interview with natural light next to a window. Sunlight comes in, and suddenly in the B rolls, the sunlight is from this side. Cannot lah. So make sure it's consistent, and that's why normally we use artificial light so that the lighting is consistent. But since you don't have that setup, make sure what you shoot is consistent in terms of props, in terms of lighting, in terms of the mood. Make sure it's consistent. All right. Perhaps during the day of the interview, like today, the weather is very cloudy. So it's not nice to shoot the building of the outside shot of the building. So you choose a different day with better weather, better lighting. Only then you shoot the building. It's still okay. All right. So I hope I've covered with you a bit about the important parts about conducting the interview. Remember, the interview itself must be in 3 parts, and to conduct the interview also is in 3 parts. Okay, before, during, and after. Before is about the planning, booking with the lecturer you choose when and where. Because it relates to the editing, you need a quiet place and a good lighting. And during the interview, make sure you have a good audio source. If you don't have a mic, use another phone to use the audio source. During the interview, make sure you also have 3 parts. It doesn't matter if the interview is longer than 5 minutes, but when editing, make sure it's within 5 minutes and make sure it has 3 parts. Okay, the who and the what, who they are, what they do, why they do the research, the problem statement, and finally the hope. What's next? what do you hope out of this research? These three parts. Okay. And you after the interview, the editing part, make sure arrange it in that three parts just now that I mentioned. Make sure in the beginning you have some editing to show the name of the lecturer, some graphics, yeah, that helps. Uh, some music video, some music effects. No, not music effects, sound effects that can enhance the atmosphere of the video, and some aesthetics that you have to remember during editing and recording. Make sure to ask permission, all right? Permission, recording B-rolls, recording the A-rolls. Make sure you don't put people that you don't ask permission to be in. Let's say you record the video in the lab, and suddenly this lecturer student walk behind. So if you want to include that video, that shot, make sure you ask the permission from that person. Are they okay to be included in the video? You have to ask. Okay, that's the ethics. And what else? That's it lah. I keep on saying that the most important element in an interview is to have the interviewee relax. So use everything in your power to have the interview in a relaxed manner. Okay. If it has to be done in the morning, you do it in the morning. If it has to be done with a coffee, prepare a coffee. All right. Uh, what else? Give questions. Yeah, I mentioned just now. Make sure you give questions before the interview. All right, because you're doing it the first time. So to have the interview really relax, you must give the questions before. All right. In fact, I'm thinking of doing the task for week 11, for you to do a short interview with your friends. Okay. Yeah, we like the task later on and look at the weekly homework. Okay. Right. So for this week task, I noticed that one of you already submitted your post, which is good. Well done, Abdullah Azam. Uh, Azam, isn't it? You want people to call you Azam. Well done, Azam. Thank you. So for this week's task, all I ask is for you to just find a good interview video on YouTube. Explain a bit why you think it's a good video, and post it like this. Okay. Make sure it appears under your text or over your text, doesn't matter, but it appears like this, because Spectrum allows you to do that. Don't put in just the link. Make sure it appear as a video like this. Okay. Find out how to do that, because that's your learning curve for this week. All right. So I intentionally put this up as a example because this is the template for you to follow. If you ask me how's a good interview video, this is an example of a good video. Okay, not because I directed it, because the people who produce it is very good. The researcher is very relaxed. The lighting is very good. The atmosphere is very nice. And they have good props at the lab. So, and also these underwater videos, they are very, very nice. I highly appreciate the lecturer who shared this with us. So it makes the video very nice. Yes, this is the lecturer herself diving in Pulau Tioman somewhere in Pulau Rawa. Pulau Rawa is in Johor. So she did her research there. So this is her underwater recording all these things. Yeah, and that's why I use this as an example, because her research is very exciting. Okay. Now, Azam mentioned this video because he likes it, because I think Azam likes to watch movies. Yeah, Azam. So it's an interview about film directors, Joko Anwar and Kim Son Ho. Kim Son Ho. Bukan ini director. Ini Yon Sang Ho. Yeah. So, but if you notice the technique The technique of this interview is quite complicated, very modern. I don't expect you to do interview like this. They have multiple cameras. They have multiple editing. They have uh, they have translations because Joko speaks English, Kim speaks Korean, so there are layers upon layers of audio editing and video editing in this one. The lighting and the background is perfect. So I don't expect you to do something like this, but just for the task this week, I just want you to share with us why do you like the interview. Okay, that's it. And that's it. And compare that with what I asked you. Normally, what I ask you to do, all those elements are in here already. Okay, the three elements that I asked you, who, what, why, and the who, is all in this video. All right. So have a look, find one, and put it up. Okay. Again, I would like to remind you this weekly task. You can do it on your own time. It's always due on week 14, but I highly encourage you to do it as early as you can because you know as you go towards the end of the semester, you have lots and lots of assignments to do. My assignment is not that difficult to do, so do it all as early as you can. All right. So that's all from me for this week. Thank you so much for your time. Uh, I have started marking your videos. A lot of you recorded what you do in your daily life. Uh, some of you have understood what I meant. So you recorded a specific part of your daily life to be submitted. That's good. But some of you also just recorded what you do that day, on one day, which is if it corresponds to a story, then that's fine. But otherwise, it's just a collection of your life, and the storyline is not that complete. I'm afraid it does not fulfill what I expect for that assignment. Okay, you still pass the subject. Don't worry. I don't fail students, but you have not shown enough understanding about telling a story through a video. Okay, I hope you understand that. Okay, later on when I give you your marks, when you compare it with your friends, the difference is on how you convey your story. Okay, I will never fail you in this class, but the difference in marks is based on how effective you tell your story. Okay, that's all. All right, guys. That's all from me. I will stop the recording now. Uh, I hope to see your contribution in the weekly task and also your updates on your assignment. Okay, the question is there for your assignment 3. I don't intend to change anything, but I hope you can use what I shared today so that you can create your interview video for your third assignment, group assignment. All right. So that's all from me. I will stop the recording now. Thank you so much for your time. Hope to see you again uh, next week.